Hello guys, very good evening. Welcome to the new sessions of DevOps with AWS. So just give me a second. Okay, so now let us discuss about how DevOps with the AWS sessions will be. Okay, before I go into that, everyone are eagerly waiting for this course. I know that. So, but yeah. So what we are going to discuss here, what we are going to study. So everything we will discuss. But first, I just want to introduce myself. Uh, Hi everyone, I am Chaitanya. I am having 13 years of experience into the IT industry, and I am having equivalent experience into the training here also. So previously, I used to train the candidates on Microsoft products, okay, Microsoft Server System Administration products, and network administration, okay, and CCNA. Later, I have shifted my training courses to AWS and DevOps. And currently we are working in the world of complete DevOps. So that's why we are going with a complete course of DevOps with the AWS. So definitely you need to have a basic understanding towards at least one of the cloud. So either it might be AWS or Azure or GCP. So basically that is the motto, that is the agenda which why we are going with the DevOps with the AWS. And when you come back to the concept, uh, before I go into the concept of DevOps, currently I am working as a DevSecOps engineer in a level 5 company with a level 5 position. So I'm an L5 consultant. So that is what my introduction, and I'm having my certifications related to Red Hat. I'm a certified AWS architect, and then I am having my certifications related to Kubernetes. I'm a certified Kubernetes administrator. So these are the certifications which I am having. So that's about myself. And yeah, I just want to know about yourself. Uh, what is your experience and why you want to learn this course? So before we dive into the concepts and before we enter into the topics of DevOps with AWS, what is this DevOps and all things? First, let me ask you your introduction. Can anyone start with? Can anyone can you start? Madhukar Reddy, Deepak, Vishwanath, Anusha. Anyone can start introducing about themselves. Just introduce about yourself. I just want to know about your experience and why you want to learn this course. That's it. I don't want a paragraph of production. Yeah, go on, Vishwanath.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Yeah, myself, Vishwanath, I have total 4 years of experience in automation with Java with Selenium. I'm currently working. I'm looking for a new learning for new technologies. So that's why I'm looking for that.
So you are having an experience into automation related to Java, right?
Yes.
Automation, Java and Selenium testing.
Selenium and with manual and API also.
I'll make it as testing.
Yes.
Okay,
and previously I worked with Kubernetes, Dockers, and everything I have worked. But I don't want to full and deep learning. So that's why I'm looking for a completely changing my domain also. So that's why.
Good. We'll discuss about that. Yeah. Next. Thank you, Vishwanath. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we'll have a clear-cut understanding of what is going to happen in this DevOps with AWS course, so that you will get a clear picture what you are going to learn. Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Any other person?
Yeah. Hi, sir. And my name is Anusha.
Yeah, continue.
And okay. For 1.5 years, I worked on JavaScript as a front-end developer. And from last 1 year, I had this maternity break. So I'm looking for a job as a DevOps engineer. That presently I'm in UK. So here it's a most thriving course. I mean technology. So I want to take up a job as a DevOps engineering. So I joined this course.
Very good, very good. So we'll discuss about that, what you want to learn here. Okay, so that will be, I know I have my students in UK and US also. So, yeah, so we'll try to sort that out and how we can design a course that will be very helpful for you to
Yes,
crack
sir.
a job.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure,
Thank you,
sir.
Anush.
Thank you so much.
Deepak,
Uh, Good evening, sir. Good evening, team.
good
Currently,
evening.
I'm a front-end developer. I'm looking for the upskills upskills DevOps and AWS. So I'll
Mhm.
join this course.
Okay. I hope that there are a few front-end developers and there is one testing engineer, that's fine. So front-end developer. Good. Now, let us go with on and briefing about DevOps. Okay, what is this DevOps and why we want this included with AWS? Before we go into the topic, what are the prerequisites to learn this course? So if you get the clear picture, okay, what are the things that I don't want to know? Okay, so the first and foremost thing here is before we go into the concept, unlearn before learning. That is what there is in IT terminology. Unlearn before learning. So if you want to learn something, you need to remove something from your brain. This DevOps course is for highly technical people? No. So you can learn DevOps if you have a basic bare minimum knowledge about the computer. That is more than enough to learn the entire course. Basic knowledge is required rather than the softwares. If you have a very good understanding about how a computer will work inside the computer, how application will work. For example, if you open an Chrome application, so when you open the Chrome application, how that application will be opened. So if you understand that, that's more than the basic computer knowledge is required. So the first thing is you don't need to have a very high end knowledge. Okay, if you have a very basic knowledge about the computers, that's more than enough. And the second one will be uh, you need to have a very good what I can say. You don't need to have a high-end computer like 16 GB of RAM. You don't need to install heavy softwares. If you are having a bare minimum 2 CPU or also what I can say dual core processor with 4 GB of RAM is more than enough. 4 GB RAM is more than enough to understand the topics and to do the practicals. 4 to 8 GB RAM is more than enough. We don't want heavy machines are not required, and you need to have a good internet connection with a proper intent to learning. That is very important. Intent is most important to learn this course. Okay, definitely I need to break this course. Definitely I need to complete the course, and I have to get the certification done, and I need to join in a job. So if you are having that intent, that's more than enough. And the third one will be yeah. So then how we have to learn this course? What is the procedure for learning this course? First and foremost thing that you need to understand is Linux. So you need to have a very good understanding about the Linux operating system. Why? Because majority number of the companies, okay, wherever you go, majority number of the companies or else majority number of servers which are deployed in a for an application. If you want to run an application, all the applications will be running in the Linux operating system only in any company. So Linux is a mandatory skill. You need to have a clear cut understanding about Linux commands and how that commands will be running out. What is what. So at least you need to have 100 commands, 100 handful commands. Okay, so whenever if I ask you when you are sleeping also, when I wake you up and ask you the command, you have to tell the command. So that much professionality is required. So that many number of handful commands that you need to understand. So Linux is very important right now. Why? The first one is if you see the security in Linux, we will be having a very huge security, and the second one will be Linux is what I can say. You don't need to restart the server again and again. So if you update the service also, you don't need to restart the server. Once a server is started, you can up the server bare minimum up to 5 years also. The server can run. You don't need to shut it down until unless if there is any power failure. Okay, so there will be no downtime for the application if there are any updates. So that is the reason why we are going for the Linux operating system. So there are so many another use cases why you want to learn the Linux. We will discuss once we enter into the concept. And then basic networking concepts are needed. Basic networking is needed. I am not saying that you need to be understanding in a level of CCNA, CCNP, not necessary, but basic, what is an IP address, those are the things that is required. Why? Because if you want to run an application, so that application should be running on a server. So that server will have an IP address, and that application will be running on a port number. What is this IP address? What is port number? Don't need to worry, but basics we will understand. I will try to explain you about those port numbers and IP address in the upcoming time. But basic understanding about the networking is required. And the next one is we need to have a very good understanding about the AWS. So you need to uh, start your career either with AWS or with Azure. Okay, I'm not saying that definitely you have to start with AWS and Azure. I'm saying that AWS or Azure. Okay, so either you can go with AWS or you can go with the Azure cloud. But AWS is very easy, and AWS is having a very good community. If you have any questions, so you can go through that community, AWS community. There are lots and lakhs of people are working with the AWS environment. So it will be very, very helpful for you to start with AWS. It's a simpler cloud. And the next one is DevOps. Then we will be going with the DevOps. So once this level of professionality you got, okay, once this level of technicalities that you got, then you don't need to worry about the next upcoming topics. Okay, so you can easily join in a job. Okay, so you need to have the Linux, networking, AWS, and DevOps, and then still you are interested after joining the job. Still you are interested in learning the course. I want to learn a few more cloud technology. Nowadays, multi-cloud environment has become a popular what I can say popular tool. Okay, where everyone are using that. I know AWS and Azure. So I understand about this concept in 2014. So from 2015 onwards, I am working on the multi-cloud environment. Right now, I have my certifications with Azure and AWS both. Any which ways. So after joining the job after 1.5 years or 2 years, then you can start working with. If you complete AWS in the first phase, please try to complete Azure in the second phase. If you complete Azure in the first place, please try to complete the AWS in the second phase. So that what is going to happen, you will have a clear-cut understanding about the multi-cloud environment. Try to understand here. I am not saying that you have to learn all the clouds at a time. So that is not a feasible also. You will get more confused. See, DevOps is a combination of multiple tools. Okay, you will be understanding Git, you have to understand Terraform, you have to understand Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, and inside that you will be having some more submodules. So it will be a hell out of thing. Okay, so anyways, which we are going to discuss within a simpler and easy understanding, we are going to discuss. But the point is, in this syllabus, if you include the multi-cloud also, that will be very, very tricky. So my request for you is that if you are learning a DevOps, then learn one cloud. That's more than enough to get a job. Once you get the job, then after 6 months of joining into the job, then you can complete the multi-cloud, the second cloud also. And still you are interested to learn the cloud, then you can go with the GCP. And finally, nowadays, it has been a very, very highly recommended tools to learn, that is Python. Learn Python also. So this is the way how you can professionalize yourself in the cloud environment with the DevOps. Okay, so right now we are living in a situation, uh, we are living in a world where AI is doing the magics. So Python is required to understand the AI. But AI is not going to be the one So in YouTube or else everywhere, there will be so many people are saying that AI has become a tremendous. Some people are getting some 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs packages. Sorry, some what I can say 5 times of their package, 10 times of their package. It might be true in one or two situations, but if you want to learn AI, there is a lot of things that you need to cover. You need to understand Python. You need to understand what I can say vector algebra. Okay, you need to understand the calculus part, integrations, differentiations, and then there will be what I can say vectors and all the things that you need to cover. So and then you have to learn machine learning and then deep learning and then finally AI, artificial intelligence, GenAI. Like that, there are so many things that you need to cover. So if you are interested, you can do that. I am not saying that you don't need to do that, but as you are having your aspiring technicalities, so what I can say you, please complete this chain of courses. If you do that, that's more than enough. So here we will complete up to this. Okay, no coding is there. In this sessions, we don't have any coding. So don't worry about that. No coding. So simply we are going to cover the sessions without any sort of very big coding. I'm not saying that we are going to work with Python language. We are going to work with Java language, but there is a language called as to write the Terraform. To run the Terraform, you need to have a basic understanding towards HCL. HCL language is there, HashiCorp language, that you need to understand to write the code. And then for Kubernetes and Jenkins, no, sorry, for Kubernetes and Docker, we need to understand YAML. Okay, ain't markup language or else YML scripting. Okay, and then for what I can say for Jenkins. Okay, for Jenkins, we need to understand a very basic Groovy. So don't worry about this. We will discuss when we go into the concept. You don't need to worry and you don't need to frighten about the coding technologies. We'll simply cover it out. So these are the concepts that we are going to basically the coding where it is required means this for these tools we require the coding and a small amount of JSON is required. JSON, JavaScript object notation. We'll discuss about all these things. I don't want to make you frightened in the beginning itself, but basically maximum we don't work with the coding every day. Okay, that is the point which I want to tell you. So yeah, before going into the DevOps, first let us see, have you ever ordered any food through Zomato or Swiggy, or else have you ever booked a cab through Ola? Have you ever done that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everyone will do that. Very good. If you see Zomato, Swiggy or Ola or Uber, every day the application looks the same or else new options will be enabled, new features, new interface will be there. From starting of the Swiggy app, right now if you see the Swiggy app, what is the difference that you find out? And starting at the point, what is the Ola condition or Uber condition? Right now, what is the Ola and Uber condition? Whether the application is as it is from the starting or else there is any changes in that application. Or else right now you might be using the Flipkart also, Flipkart or Amazon. So these are also the applications which you are using on the mobile phones. Whenever you are using these applications, so from the beginning they look as same or else there is a lot of changes in that application.
Sir, lot of
Updates are
changes,
there.
sir.
There are lots of changes and updates are available. So when the updates are available day to day, how we are going to integrate these applications, how we are going to update this, how we are going to automate this. So the basic DevOps, whatever the DevOps that you are seeing right now here, DevOps is a platform. I won't say it is as a tool. It is not a tool. It is a methodology. Methodology. What is meant by methodology and what is meant by a tool? So if you see Python or else if you see Java, you will learn only about Java. You will learn only about the Python or else you will learn only about the front end like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, React JS, Angular. So only about the front end you will learn. These are all the front end courses. But when you come to the DevOps, DevOps is not a single technology. It's a methodology of multiple tools which are integrated, and with the help of those tools, what you can do, you can automate the application updation process. So whatever the Zomato application that you have seen here, if a new update is there, for example, you created an application as a developer. For example, you created an application. Are you able to see my Paint
Yes, sir.
app? Okay. So you
Yes.
created this application. Now, application means right now inside this application, you won't be having a single, whatever the application that you are using, you won't be having a single service. So try to understand what I'm trying to explain you. If you see, for example, Swiggy application is there. In Swiggy application, there will be several services are available. To log in, we will be using user service, user management service, where users has to sign up, and once they are signed up, the data will be stored in the database, and then you will be able to log in. Once you have logged into the Swiggy, then what you can do, there will be a cart or else itinerary service will be there, or also what I can say, this one called as items. Okay, order service will be there. So in orders, what you are going to do, the order service will be used to put an order or else to select the food items. To select food items, there will be order service. Order. So this will be written in some Java language. And then once you selected and put that into the cart, then there will be payment service. Payments will be done. To do payments, there will be payment service. There will be payment service. Once the payment is done, then what is going to happen? Then you need to get the notifications. Notification will be, we have to get the notification either through email, or you will be getting some messages or some notifications from the tab. So this notifications will be to get notifications. Notification, we are going to have notification services. Notification service. So this is also the backend will be written maybe in Java or Python, and the front end will be written through React JS, Node.js, Angular. With the help of these front end tools, you will be writing the front end, and this front end will be connected to the backend. So, and this backend will be connected to the database. And finally, you will be having what I can say, analytics services. Okay. Analytics. Okay. Analytics service just for understanding which orders, how many orders of this particular item was sold in this particular area. So like that, you will be having the analytics services are also available. So these are all the services that are included in a single application. So if you see your Swiggy application, when you are creating this, there will be several microservices that are included with this service. Okay, either it might be user service, user management service, food order service, payment notifications, notification service, and then you will be having analytics, and you need to update the database also. Okay, these are all the microservices that are available across the application. If you want to create a single application, you need to have this multiple microservices. So with all these microservices, we are going to create this application. So this microservices are going to be created in a single language or multiple language. Now, what we have to do, when a developer creates a microservice, or else when a developer writes the code, so you don't need to worry about what is the code that is written by the developer. As a DevOps engineer, what we want to do here, that is required. So when the developer writes a code and give it to the, and what he is going to do, he is going to push it to, or else he is going to build the application. So how he has to build the application, if you go back to some 2015, at that time maximum number of people doesn't know what is meant by DevOps. what is meant by what I can say, what is DevOps, what is AWS, what is Azure. Maximum people doesn't know, but after 2015 or else 2014 onwards, everyone are habituated to understand the DevOps. Right now, DevOps and AWS and Azure has become a very prominent tool in the IT industry. Now, just go back to that era, like 2010. In 2010, manually, what we have to do, we need to build the application, build the microservice. We don't have these microservice architecture also at that time. We used to have a concept called as monolithic applications. Monolithic applications at the time of at 2010, for example. At 2010, we don't have these microservices. We used to have the monolithic. What is meant by monolithic application? Anyone? Can you tell me what is meant by monolithic application? What is meant by monolithic? The name itself says that monolithic. Okay. So, okay. So monolithic means all these microservices, whatever the service that I have said you right now, all these services are included in a single application. They are not segregated separately. So like this, the multiple microservices won't be there. There will be only one application which is written in a single language. Either it might be Java, or else it might be Python, or else it might be .NET. Whichever is the comfortable language for the developers, with the help of that language, with the help of that single language, the developers are going to create the entire application. So in that point, what is the main problem? We'll see about that. If you are using a monolithic application, the main drawback is that if one service is down, for example, user management service is down, then the entire application will be down. Okay, we have to take down the entire application. Why? Because each and every application is interconnected. Each and every microservice is interconnected with each other. So that is the main drawback of the monolithic application. And then comes the microservice. And one more thing is that in monolithic application, the entire application, entire services, user management service, order service, payment service, notification service, everything will be written in a single language. That is also one of the drawback. So to overcome all these problems, what has happened, we introduced a concept called as microservices. In microservices, there will be a user management service. So this user management service will be written in Java. Okay. So this is a separate application. This is a separate microservice. And there will be another microservice called as order service. This order service may be written in .NET. So they will be integrating these two services with the help of an API, application programming interface, so that what is going to happen when the user logins, automatically it will be routed towards your order service. From the order service, that there will be a notification service which is written in Java. Again, and after that, whatever the payment services are, the payment services will be written in Python or Java, any of the language. So there is a feasibility, flexibility in the microservice architecture. And and then you will be having one more service that is written in another language. Like that, what is going to happen, multiple services will be written in multiple languages. Multiple microservices are written in multiple languages, and as well as they are in decoupled nature. So one service will be in contact with another service, but if the other service is not working, the entire application is not going to be down. Okay, only that service need to get fixed quickly by the developers, but the rest of the services will be as it is. If the rest of the services will be running as it is. So this is the main advantage with the microservice architecture rather than the monolithic architecture. In monolithic architecture, if one service is down, we have to take down the entire application and restart the entire application, which is going to be a very hectic task for the developers. But when come to the microservice architecture, it is a single service which you need to reconstruct that. So that is the main advantage with the microservice architecture. Now, when we come back to the DevOps concept, we understood what is meant by monolithic and microservice. When we come to the DevOps, so why is this DevOps? Previously, when we are using the monolithic architecture, all the developers has to build the application, and then they have to run the application inside a server. And they have to run the application. Once the application is completed, they have to run the application inside a server. So there will be an operations team. So this is the development team which has created the application. And when they gave this application to when they gave this application to the server management team called as ops team, so they will run the application. But sometimes what is going to happen, the operations team is going to say that this application is not running on the server. So I hope you might be faced this particular scenario. So the operation team is going to say that application is not good. So it is not running on the server. We are failed to run the application. Please check your coding. Please check the dependencies and all the things. Then what the developers will say? Developers will say that no, the application is running fine. We are able to check that in our computer. It is running good. And again, operations team will say that no, can you please check can you please find out the screenshot that we have shared with you? The application is not running fine. They are going to share the logs, and then developer has to rectify the issue by checking the logs. And once they have rectified, again they have to send it to the operation team, and the operation team will again reject the application, saying that the application port number is not valid. There will be a security issue if we run the application on that port number. So rechange or else change the port number of the application. So again, the application team has to change developers has to change the port number of the application and send it back to the operations team. So like that, what is going to happen? So the application deployment is going to take a lot of time. It is going to take a lot of time. Why? Because of this coordination issues. So the developers will say that the application is working fine, and the operation team will say that no, the application is not working fine. We have checked in our servers. There is a lot of problem with the application development. So to eradicate this particular problem, we are going with a team called as DevOps team. DevOps engineers. So what is the main functionality of DevOps engineers? What is the main work of DevOps engineers? They need to have the basic understanding about the software, and as well as they need to have an understanding about the operations, how this deployment is going to happen, how your application is going to be developed. So we don't need to have a very good understanding about the Java, Python. See, before I go into the next point, let me tell you about something. I'm a triple graduate. I'm a graduate from electrical and electronics engineer. In electrical and electronics engineer, I don't even have a touch towards the computers. But right now I am working as a DevSecOps engineer in the highest level. So when I am working in that level, so that means that I don't need to still now I don't have a knowledge on Java. I don't have a knowledge on Python, which means that I can understand whenever the developer gives the application, when we try to run the Maven, whatever the problems that we got, I can check through the logs and I can tell that to the developers, there is a problem in this. Okay. But the point what you need to understand here is to say that you don't need to have a very good knowledge about the coding. So the work of coding is done by the developers. So what is the DevOps engineer's work here is the main work of DevOps engineer who is working in a company. The main work or else the main day-to-day work is that he has to identify the errors, issues with the software. What are the different issues? So how he can find out through the logs. So log monitoring is very important. Understanding the logs is very important for a DevOps engineer. So if there is a problem with an application, definitely the DevOps engineer should be able to understand the application logs. For example, if you got some disease, okay, you don't know what is the disease. You are continuously affected with fever and body pains. Now, what doctor will ask you? Doctor will ask you for the symptoms. What are the symptoms? Why you are getting this? So at what time you are getting fever? Uh, from how many days you are getting this? So what you are facing off? Are you having any headache, body pains? Everything he is going to ask you. Depending on that, he is going to write a prescription. Okay. In the same manner, if an application is not working, then we need to understand the logs. Every application will generate the logs. So the DevOps engineer work is that you need to understand the logs and you need to make a coordination between the development team and the delivery team. Okay, even you can work in the delivery team also. So you need to have that coordination. There is a problem in this particular application. Because of this particular problem, the application is not running on the server. Can you please check out the problem? You have to say that to the developers. So how you will be saying? With the help of the logs. So that is about what is the work of a DevOps engineer. Please try to understand the logs and put that in the application. I mean, put that for the developers and then totally conclude the whatever the problem and again deploy that application. Now, when the DevOps has came into the picture, the entire IT industry has been changed. Right now, it is like previously, if I want to do any update in the application, it used to take some days and days. But because of the DevOps, we used to have the automation as a tool. Okay. Automation as a tool, everything is becoming very, very simple. So just if you upload the code, into Git, okay, into Git or else VCS, version control system, this Git will understand, okay, the new code has been updated. Now I need to build the application. So the application will be built with Maven. If it is a Java application, it will be built with Maven, Gradle, and there is some more packages like Ant, Node Package Manager, like that. There will be several tools are available. And later to construct the infrastructure, you are having the Terraform. And then to deploy the application, we are having Docker and Kubernetes. Docker and Kubernetes. And then to do the configuration management, we are having Ansible. And then to work with the complete CI/CD integration, we are having Jenkins. And in between that, if I want to know the code quality, we are having a tool called as SonarQube. So these are all the tools that we are having to run the application. So we are going to learn in the DevOps. So whatever the tools that I have specified over here, these are all the tools that we are going to understand. So with the help of these tools, we can automate the entire process. How we are going to automate that you will understand when we go into the concept of DevOps. So any questions here? I know there are few people who are attended, who joined and who has left, but that's okay. Any questions here? Up to now, whatever we have discussed, is it clear or do you have any questions or do you have any confusions? You can ask me now. Questions, guys? Yeah, Deepak, you are about to ask something.
No, sir. It is clear, sir.
Good. Madhukar? Yeah. Thank you, Deepak. Madhukar? Okay.
So Chaitanya, are we going to cover all these tools in this course?
Yeah, we are going to cover all the tools in the DevOps. I will tell you the syllabus, what we are going to cover and how we are going to start the concepts. Okay.
And when AWS comes to the picture in this sequence, as you mentioned, GitHub, SonarQube and all.
Yeah, I will tell you. I will tell you. Okay. Shashank, is that clear? Can we go for the next concept or else can I go for the next step?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. Anusha, is that clear?
Yes, sir, clear.
Good. So now let's get back to the next concept. So the next concept which we are going to discuss here is, so this is what the DevOps is all about. Just for your understanding, I just want to tell you about the syllabus, what is the procedure and how we are going to cover the AWS DevOps with AWS. So actually here what we are going to understand is, first we will go through the Linux. Basic Linux we are going to cover. What is meant by Linux, and inside the Linux how we are going to the networking concepts, everything we are going to cover in the Linux only. So in Linux we will be discussing basic commands and then how they are going to be used, what is the grep command, pipe, and then what is meant by redirectional commands, and then what is meant by echo command, and then ls, cd, mkdir, like that. There are several commands are there. All the commands we are going to cover in the Linux operating system. And later we will be going with the Actually, we have to start AWS, but here we are going to start the Git. So Git is a what I can say, it is a version control system. We are going to discuss about that. We will be totally discussing about the Git concept. And once the Git is completed, then what I can do here is I can go with the AWS environment, or else we can go with the AWS. So that is in our hand. Either we can go with the Linux and then we can go into the AWS and then we can dive into the Git concept. Anyways, that is in our hand. So let us discuss about the AWS. So AWS cloud environment, what we are going to do here in the cloud, AWS, what we are going to discuss is, we are going to discuss about the VPC, EC2 instances, S3 buckets, IAM, and RDS, database services, and then Lambda, serverless architecture. I will simply make it as serverless architecture, and then monitoring tools, monitoring and governance. All these tools. So you can ask me, sir, will you cover SQS? SQS will comes under the serverless itself. Okay. Simple queue service. Are you going to cover the SNS? Simple notification service will come under serverless. Lambda, serverless. DynamoDB, in the serverless architecture only it will come. And then API gateway integration. So serverless architecture. So whatever we are going to discuss about a small tools, all the small tools will be covered under this category. Okay, monitoring tools, or we are going to cover the CloudWatch. CloudWatch will comes under the monitoring. CloudTrail, governance. Okay, CloudTrail will comes under the governance, and AWS Inspector, that will comes under the security. Okay, so here I will make it as security. In security, we will be having the concepts related to IAM Identity Center, and then we will be having a concepts related to Active Directory, and we will be understanding about the WAF, Web Application Firewall, and then a few security features. So these are all going to cover. In S3, I will make it as storage. In storage, we are going to discuss about EBS, Elastic Block Storage, S3 buckets, Elastic File System, EFS, FSX. So these are all going to cover in the storage. AWS backup. So everything will be covered in the storage. When you come to the EC2, in EC2, we are going to cover about instances. And then we are going to cover about the load balancers, network load balancer, application load balancer, AMIs, auto scaling loops, everything we are going to cover. And this will be with the practical implementation. I am not going to tell you in the theoretical format. So if I say you in the theoretical format, that will be a little bit tricky for you. So no theory is included in our sessions. Everything is a practical oriented session. Abhishek, I hope that you attended one of the sessions right now. Maybe, I don't know, or the same or the different guy. But I hope you understand, if you are the same guy, so you can say that how our sessions are going. Maybe Docker and Kubernetes, I think you have attended, if I am not wrong. Are you the same guy or a different guy?
No,
I
I'm not. No.
Maybe there are so many with the same name. I have a couple of students who are attended previous batch also. That's why I asked you. Sorry if you are. Okay, and when you come to the VPC, in VPC, we are going to discuss about peering, NAT gateway, endpoints, VPN connection, transit gateway, security groups, network ACLs. These are all the concepts that we are going to cover. In between the concepts itself, I am going to give you the interview questions also. In interview, this is how the questions will be asked, and this is how you have to answer the questions. So you need to go with VPC. We will be covering EC2, total EC2 configurations, Route 53, Global Accelerator, CloudFront, WAF, Web Application Firewall, and then we will be discussing about the storage concepts like AWS backup, S3 buckets, EFS, FSX. These are all going to cover. In security, we are going to cover the AWS Inspector, and then we will be discussing about what was that? IAM, in IAM, how we can generate the policy, how we can create the roles, users, and all the concepts. And Active Directory concepts we are going to understand here. And then RDS, relational databases. Okay, so we are going to discuss about how we can integrate, how we can create the MySQL database, and how we can connect the application to the MySQL database and run that. So we'll discuss about that. And then when you come to the serverless, we are going to discuss about the Lambda, Auto 3, API gateway, And then we are going to discuss about SQS, SNS. These are all the topics that we are going to cover in the serverless. And when you come to the monitoring, in monitoring, we are going to cover the CloudWatch, event bridges. And when you come to the governance, we are going to cover the concepts related to CloudWatch, CloudTrail. So these are all the concepts that we are going to cover. And in infrastructure as a code. So there we will be covering about cloud formation, which is a tool that is related to your AWS environment. And then we will be discussing about PaaS services, platform as a service is called as Elastic Beanstalk. And then DevOps tools. In AWS also we are having tools like code pipeline, code artifact, code build is there, code artifact is there, Cloud9 is there. So like that we are having so many DevOps tools are also there. So these are all going to cover. So those are related to AWS environment. So once AWS is completed, it will take minimum to minimum some 45 days to cover the AWS concepts. So I can assure you that. Why? Because those many number of concepts that we are going to cover. And later we will be diving on to DevOps. Okay, in DevOps, what we are going to learn here is the first and foremost thing is that we are going to understand the shell scripting, and then we will be working with Git. Okay, what is meant by Git and GitHub? Okay, GitHub. So I want to include GitHub Actions also, if possible. That I will cover in the CI/CD. But Git we are going to cover, and then we will be discussing about Terraform, which is very important. So whoever are attending from the other countries, Terraform is going to play a crucial role in the DevOps engineer part. So in every interview, if you are going for a DevOps engineer position, they will be asking you about the Terraform. Terraform is one. Terraform, Docker, and Kubernetes. These three are becoming a very, very crucial part in the application. I mean, right now in the DevOps, whatever the position that you are working, DevOps engineer, SRE, or else cloud architecture, these three tools are become very prominent. So Terraform, and then we will be discussing about Ansible, and then we'll discuss about Docker, Kubernetes, and then Jenkins, Maven, SonarQube, and finally the monitoring tools like Prometheus and Grafana. These are the things that we are going to cover in the DevOps. So if you come to the shell scripting, don't see the outer layer. This is just a blueprint. So when I go into the shell scripting, we need to discuss about the special variables. We need to discuss about the high-end commands. We need to discuss about the concepts of if-else loops, and then for loop, and then do-while loop, and then break and continue functions. There are so many concepts that are included in the shell scripting. When you come to the Git, in Git, we need to discuss about Git branching strategies, what is meant by Git merge, Git rebase, Git stash, Git cherry pick, and then we need to discuss about Git working flow, and then we have to discuss about the concepts related to how Git will store the data, and Git remote tools like GitHub, Bitbucket, and GitLab. These are all we are going to cover in the Git. And when you come to the Terraform, in Terraform, we will be discussing about Terraform basics, Terraform modules, Terraform functions, and then Terraform enterprise. And then if possible, I will try to cover the HashiCorp Vault also. And when you come to the Ansible, Ansible is a configuration management tool where automation of your application installation on the servers will be done. So in Ansible, how to install Ansible, how to run the playbooks, and these are all the concepts that we are going to discuss in the Ansible. Okay, playbooks integration, Ansible Vault, and how we are going to install the application with the help of Ansible and Ansible commands. These are all the things that we are going to cover. And when you come to the Docker, in Docker, we are going to discuss about Docker lifecycle, Docker architecture, container architecture, or else Docker containers architecture, and then we will be discussing about the concepts related to what was that? Docker networking, Docker images, Docker volumes, Docker Swarm, Docker Compose. These are all the things that we are going to cover in the Docker. When you come to the Kubernetes, in Kubernetes, there are so many topics are there. I cannot tell you right now, but Basically, if I have to say, Kubernetes cluster creation, Kubernetes workloads, Kubernetes service, ingress controller, probes and sidecar containers, and then we are going to discuss about namespaces and resource quotas, RBAC, and storage configurations, Helm charts, STO service mesh, AWS EKS, Rancher. So lots and lots of things that are there that we are going to cover in the Kubernetes. And when you come to the Jenkins, how to install Jenkins, how to create the high availability Jenkins application, how to add the nodes, slave nodes, and how to run the pipelines in that slave nodes, and then how to do the user management in Jenkins. And then what is a multi-branch pipelining, what is meant by Blue Ocean, how we are going to integrate other applications into the Jenkins. So these are all we are going to cover in the Jenkins. And Maven is just a small tool. So how we can create, how we can run the builds. Basically, we will be having 3 to 4 commands. So in a single or two classes, we are going to cover Maven and SonarQube. And in 1 or 2 classes, we are going to cover about Prometheus and Grafana. So the most of the time it is going to take for these tools. So maximum DevOps is also going to be completed within 45 to 50 days. So we said that within 4 months, we are going to cover the entire topic. Okay. Maybe it is going to take below the 4 months, or else less than 4 months also. It might go up above the 4 months also. I cannot say you that. I cannot promise that. Definitely it is going to have less number of classes, or else definitely we are going to have more number of classes. 4 months is what I thought. We can, if you are interested, if you are more expressive, if you are more interacting with the faculty, then we can cover the entire topics very fastly, as well as I can explore more about more topics. New topics are also being included into the concepts. The topics which I did not given in the syllabus also, I will try to include that in the concepts if you are interacting with the faculty. See, if the interaction between the student and the faculty, or else trainer and trainee is there, then sharing of knowledge will be there. So that what is going to happen, the trainer will get more interest in delivering the class. So my classes will be always like interaction between the student and the faculty, or else trainee and the trainer. So my humble request is that you should be more interactive. If you are sitting silently in the session, I cannot do anything. If I ask you a question, if you know, tell me, yes, I know. If you don't know, I don't know. Or else if you have the answer, please tell me the answer. If it is right or wrong, I don't care about that. I want you to open out. Okay, so when you go for an interview, if an interview asks you a question, you should not sit calmly. So that is my requirement. I don't want my student to sit calmly before the interviewer. He or she has to express themselves. So how you can do that? By interacting with the trainer itself. So just interact with me. If you have any silly questions, also no problem. I might scold, but eventually I am going to tell you the concept. So my requirement is that you need to have a clear cut. You need to get a pure knowledge on the complete DevOps with AWS course. Okay. So tomorrow you should not say that we are unable to deliver this because of these reasons. So I want my every student who is going out of this batch has to crack the interview in the DevOps. So that's my goal. I hope I made it very clear. Any questions from your end?
So Chaitanya, timing will be same, or we can, because
Timings.
it's an office timing actually. That's why.
I understand that timings will be 4:30 only, 4:30 to mostly 5:30 or 6. 1 hour of session will be there, and yeah, so timings will be the same.
Sir, weekend off या daily classes?
Weekend is off. Don't worry about the weekend. In
Weekend means Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday, both the days will be off. Okay, and one more thing is that sometimes I am going to put the classes on weekend also. For example, if I have to cover the Terraform is very large topic. At that time, we will be having some Terraform, Kubernetes, and Docker. Sometimes we will have the weekend batch also. I will tell you whenever there is a weekend batch. Before Wednesday itself, I am going to announce that whether we have a batch on that weekend or not. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. Yeah, Madhukar. Yeah, Anusha, tell me.
So actually, I feel that there are a lot of tools and then more concepts. Does this course will cover all the necessary concepts to sit for the interview, sir? Means
Not only for interview, but you can crack the certifications also. I can assure you on that.
Okay.
You can put a 3 years of experience Like if you are going for an interview, you can put up to 3 years of experience. I don't want to say this, why? Because it is going into the public domain. But yes, you will get a knowledge of an engineer who is having continuous 3 years of experience into the IT DevOps position. Okay, you can easily crack the interview by learning the courses. I'm not going to say you in a high level language. It will be very, very basic concepts. We will be starting from the scratch. So you don't need to worry about how we can crack the interview. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And moreover that we will be having some projects in between that. See, the people will say that there will be some capstone projects. We are going to provide you 5 projects, 10 projects in the syllabus. So I don't want to say you about that. Why? Because here you need to understand the core concept. If you understand the core concept, then you can use the same concept anywhere. Okay, so if you have a very good knowledge on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then you can use that knowledge to create any application. If I say you only about that application, so some applications may not require the nav bars. Some applications I'm telling in your front end language nav bars, and there will be forms. Some applications may not require the forms. So if I take that application and tell you about that particular element, form element is going to be missed out. So I don't want you to learn in that manner. I want you to learn from the scratch so that you can develop any application. You can work with any application, not a single application. So here I will tell you about the project. I will take the project and explain you about the project, how we are going to integrate this project with the tools, everything I'm going to cover. But here we are going to cover the core concept of the complete DevOps tools. From the scratch we are going to cover. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. Any questions, guys?
Sir, end of this course, we will provide a certificate of this course.
DURGASOFT will provide the certificate.
Okay.
If you want to do the international certification also, you can do the international certifications. Tomorrow I will tell you about what are the certifications that you can complete, what are the different AWS certifications, what are the different Hibernate certifications that you can do related to this course. Okay. Right. Anything else, guys? Good. So one thing I can assure you that when you sit in front of the interviewer, so if you, whatever I said you in the sessions, every day to day, you have to do the practice. You should not skip the practicing. Today, one concept is completed. I humbly request you to complete the practice by today evening itself, or else at least before you attend the session, you need to complete that concept. Then you can attend to the next session. So if that is my only request, every day to day, whatever the practical that I have said you, please complete that practical and attend the session. Okay, then you will be able to understand the next session. Why? Because in AWS, some concepts are interlinked. Okay, so that is the only request from my end. Okay, right, guys. Have a nice day, and we'll meet in the next session. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.